Welcome everyone to the June virtual event from the Women Automotive Network. It's a new format this time where we are joined by recent Detroit speakers, Amy from Savuri and April from Ford. The format we'll run through a few of the highlights and overview of the session, have some Q&A with Amy and April, followed by a short presentation on ways to get involved with some of the upcoming Women Automotive Network initiatives, corporate membership, sponsorship even, and then we will invite everyone else to turn on their cameras, microphones, get involved, and share everything and anything they'd like to. So if we can move to the next slide, this was what happened in Detroit just over 2 weeks ago. We had 40 incredible sponsors, nearly 500 attendees in person, with another 250 online. I'm not sure what you guys think, but it was an amazing day, wasn't it? The energy, the inspiration, the connection. So thank you for everyone in the audience and, of course, our partners. Close the screen. Amy, April, what was your favorite part of the summit this year?
April, do you want to go first?
Oh, okay. I'll go first. I think for me, it was looking around the room that the traditional automotive isn't as siloed as maybe prior years. So we had it felt a more diverse room this year. So we had the OEMs, the tier ones, we had some pure tech players. And I think the takeaway for me is, wow, like when we're trying to solve traditional automotive problems, that our lens is too narrow if we're thinking about automotive as we historically have. So there's a lot of potential collaborators and partners for how we're going to solve tech and infrastructure future state. And that was a takeaway for me. We have an expanding ecosystem.
April, I agree completely. I think just seeing all of the people in the room, and I think for so many of us, we realize now that we're all facing the same problems and challenges. And it felt like a real community of people working together on those same problems. It's so nice. And yes, of course, many of us are, quote, competitors, but there just wasn't that atmosphere at all. It was an atmosphere of community, and really how we can all be really working together and finding people that we can meet and rely on. I mean, I'm still in touch and have been messaging people that I met at the conference, which is so fun. Like the conversations have continued beyond the day.
For sure.
I'm so pleased to hear that. Tell me, what was, or who should I say, your favorite speaker or session? So those of you that already joined in the chat, maybe heard April say something about the Ford attendees. So April, tell us, you've mentioned your top speakers and sessions.
Well, so I can't pick one. That's a very unfair question. It was such an amazing, there was so much energy there. Definitely a shout out to my co-panelist, Jennifer Kemp from Dow, who I never met prior to this event. So thank you for that. And in her amazing 30-year career there. Lindsay from Automotive News, absolute pro. I love the Hybrid Horizons knowledge transfer that we got from Rebecca Yates and Mazen Hamoud. And I know there was a kind of a joke about, hey, we're both PhDs, get ready for it to be exciting. But I really, really found that knowledge transfer to be really foundational, I think. And again, the why we were all in that room. I always love Yvette and Alex Partners data. I'm a data nerd. Okay. I just can't help it. Always sets the tone for why we're there and why this community is so important. Michelle Baker, I love her energy and enthusiasm. Love, 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 love her. And then I was sharing with Amy that definitely for the Women of Ford team, our employee resource group, Amy's panel, the closing panel was a Ford favorite. So love that. Ask me anything. Love it. Bring it back.
Yeah, I will say that was the most fun panel I've ever been on. It's the best. Like there's actually nothing more freeing than a panel or a speaking engagement that you cannot prepare for. Because truthfully, I mean that in all honesty, like it's actually the most fun because you just know you're going to have to just react in the moment. And my co-panelists, Laura and Stephanie, were amazing, and Denise as the moderator. I agree with April. It's hard for me to pick a single one. I think each of the speakers and panelists really brought a different perspective. I guess I would say two things. One is I loved the diversity. So you had panelists, you had kind of more of a one-on-one sort of fireside chat. There was, more interactive sessions. I think that makes the day go by really quickly and it keeps it really engaging. And it also, I find for me, it helps me retain information. Like if it's just the same type of thing, one right after the next, the differences in the formats really made an impression on me and I think you retain so much more information. And then I do want to give a shout out to Michelle because she's amazing. And I love those kind of workshop sessions where you're actually in a smaller group and you're really interacting with people. I still have the piece of paper I wrote down in her session, and it's continuing to be with me and encourage and inspire me. So she was a favorite of mine as well.
I'm so pleased to hear. I guess we should start off by asking in the chat, did most people join this event? Is this a little bit of a reunion, or are a lot of those in the audience now hoping to hear what actually happened? Whilst people write that in the chat, I want to go back to Amy's panel that April's mentioned. So this was an Ask Me Anything panel. It was the first time we'd ever done something like this, where we had 4 speakers, well, Denise as a host, but also as a very qualified ex-Nissan speaker, take anything, didn't they, from the online and the in-person audience. Did you have a favorite question?
Oh my gosh. Did I have a favorite question? I actually think my favorite question, I honestly think, was the one about the elevator, because that one's a loop. And I've never actually thought that, and talk about something you can't prepare for. So I think that wins as my favorite question, because I think it got us all really thinking. And I thought each of the answers were so different. So that, I think that was my favorite question of the panel.
So for those that don't know, the panel were asked, if you had 30 seconds in an elevator, who would you want to be in the room with, right? And we had Taylor Swift, Henry Ford.
And then my answer was any girl between 14 and 16. So I think that was such a cool question, because you saw the perspective of all of us. I mean, I love Stephanie's answer so much about like what a pioneer in the industry, what they would think now, like how cool, and to have such an example of like a woman that has just pushed all the boundaries and like just been able to be like a true legend. And then, my take on sort of the future leaders coming up, the future female leaders coming up. So I think that was just such a fun conversation for us all to be able to have.
Well, but your answer, Amy, and the point about that is such a critical time in a young woman's life, and where we have everything tearing us down. And that's what really resonated with me is, wow, like how do we bring the power of this community to our pipeline sooner? Because that is such a critical age. So love the question, but really love the answer and what it means to, again, reflecting on myself and that kind of age where you're so unsure of everything. That was definitely my favorite.
Oh, thank you.
100%. Did you know, though, apparently it starts even earlier. So apparently from 8 years old, children are programmed, and it's all about society. So I'm not sure what the stores are like in the US, but if you go to a store, a toy store, sorry, in the UK, you still have the pink aisles and the blue aisles. And from 8 years old, STEM toys are just not for girls. They're not attractive. Crazy.
It's interesting too. I just think there's such an opportunity to your point, April, too, is like, how do we get the pipeline involved in some things earlier? Because representation matters. And like, even being there, it was meaningful and inspiring to me to see all of the women in the room. And I'm much further in my career. And I think if the younger girls could see that power now, they like kind of know what is available in front of them. So I think there's just, I don't know if there's a way to harness that or bring it to them. I loved the male panelist. Now I can't remember who it was, where he was like telling us to all LinkedIn his daughter, because I think
Richard from Bosch.
He has a daughter in that critical age, and he wants to see the power that she has in front of her.
I think 1 or 2 of our attendees actually asked this year if they could bring their daughters with them. So maybe that's something that we can encourage. So we're always volunteers, aren't we, with the microphones, and we contact local universities. So don't quote me now, we're going to have 250 students in the room next year, but maybe that's something that we should explore.
I love that idea so much.
I do too. I absolutely. I mean, the power of this community, and we're talking about the expanding ecosystem, but even to be a resource somehow to those young women who are thinking about careers in automotive or the, the tangential type of automotive sector that we saw grow in our ecosystem this year is, I love this idea.
Yeah, me too. Stephanie, we're going to make it happen with you. Me and April will help you.
My team is going to kill me. Okay. So apart from that, I know, just because we're rolling with this kind of future generation, April Ford works really closely with local universities. Is that something you know much about? Perhaps you can share how it started.
So personally, I've not been on any of the recruiting teams. I know there are for a lot of it, I'm in the manufacturing engineering segment, but I know we more broadly, whether it's finance or whatever, that we do that. And we have from internships through our Ford College graduate program, which I'm very proud that we're trying to get early career engineers more access to the broader enterprise earlier. So days of the past where maybe you had an engineer come into one segment of the business and that's where they worked. Now, and I think about, I didn't have that access when I started at Ford, and how impactful that is. So we actually, within our global manufacturing engineering community, stood up a FCG shadowing day so that we, as LL plus leaders in the company, we have an FCG shadow us for the day. And just to give them access and exposure to how leaders think, how they collaborate to make decisions. And we've gotten some really, really good feedback about how impactful that is to their careers, even though they're gaining access to rotating into different parts of the business. It might be product development for design release. It could be our operations or our material planning and logistics, but just that shadowing time with leaders to kind of embrace their mindset and the different forums that we're in where decisions for the enterprise are made. It seems that it's very impactful. So we're excited about that.
Amazing. Thank you.
We also, I will say, so Subaru has a really incredible internship program, and I just was there. So we welcome our new interns at the end of May. We actually have the biggest intern class that we've ever had, and literally, I mean this all, in all honesty, my favorite day of the year is the executive intern lunch, and all of the VPs in the company come and have lunch with all of our interns, and we get to know them, and they get to, let's literally, Stephanie gets an ask me anything. So there's nothing off the table for the interns.
You mean it wasn't the first time we did this for you?
But we have such an incredibly diverse group of interns coming in this year, and it's inspiring. It's amazing to me. And we try to make sure that they do get time with leaders across the organization and get that full exposure of the business. One of the things I mentioned to them yesterday is I just don't think people realize how many amazing careers there are in automotive. Like you don't understand all of the things that happen in an OEM and all of the different roles that you can have. And I just think that that intern year, and when you can do that, you get so much ability to see all of the different paths you can take.
Definitely.
Well, and I think too, this new generation, right, as the population of pension incentivized people shrinks, like they have to have a broader range of business skills, no matter what function they're in. They're their own CEOs of their pension, essentially. And so to make those decisions, like giving them access to more of the different skill teams in a business helps their strategic thinking. It helps their storytelling. It helps them have skills that are more flexible and transferable for the different roles that they might pursue within your company or outside of it. So again, back to our ecosystem, it only benefits our ecosystem by investing in this pipeline.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Let's talk about representation. We had some amazing speakers on stage. Thank you for highlighting some of those. The interactive sessions, we were really lucky. A lot of the partners came and spoke with their clients. Who are your inspirational role models that you'd like to see on stage next year?
Oh my gosh, that's a tough question.
I know. Go on.
For me, I want to see us expand, on this, we're going to just keep on this pipeline thing. Like, so horizontally, I think there's more automotive adjacent businesses that we can bring to the audience. So tech, energy, grid infrastructure, you think about how important power is for us moving forward. So by sheer definition, automotive has expanded, and we saw some of that in the room this year, but I think we can do more horizontally. And then vertically would be this kind of pipeline talent that we just talked through. Like how do we bridge into, and I saw some comments in the chat about other events that could dovetail nicely into that. But I would love to see both horizontal and vertical growth.
April, I love that answer. I'm going to play on both of those sides. In fact, I had just given some feedback to the automotive tech concert, conference, which I was a part of right after Women in Automotive, with the same comment you just made, April, that I love the idea of bringing in someone that is adjacent to the industry, but not specifically in it, whether it's an economist or whatever it is, that it's not right directly in the industry, but is involved in stuff that is really impacting the industry. So kind of that type of different thing to kind of get us to think beyond that, even whether it's public, the grid, all of the different things, but there's these opportunities. I also had an amazing opportunity to attend a conference earlier this year in California called Bridge, which is all about inclusion. It's really an inclusion conference. And I was so moved by they had people that came and were honored as future leaders, young people, like you said, in the pipeline that they had to be nominated, and then they were honored on stage, and they got an opportunity to actually talk about their accomplishments. And it was, I think, probably the most moving part of the conference. And you could see what it meant to those people on the stage, right, to have that experience. So maybe there's an opportunity to think about who, all of us in our various roles and companies, who we are seeing as future leaders, and give them an opportunity to get on stage.
Definitely. At our European event, we have a Rising Stars category. So maybe that's something we should look at for Detroit next year. Thank you so much. And that's really interesting because one of the speakers we've been recommended, she's the president of the DTE, isn't she, Joy? So if anyone knows DTE, Joy, tell them to get in touch with me. Okay, audience, before I go into the presentation, do you have any questions about the summit, or specifically for April and Amy? Maybe we can answer live. Do you guys have access to the chat? Do you want me to highlight
I can see what's coming in the chat.
Yeah. So Kim, why are we still having this conversation? Because progress is slow, isn't it? We've gone from 15% to 20%, but unfortunately, when we don't have that pipeline, when the board, the few CEOs that's there's no one to be replaced. We struggled in Europe last year. I think we had 8 female board members that left, and they weren't replaced by females. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I have the same thought. I mean, I think the pipeline is so important. Like, I cannot stress that enough. And I think that opportunity of engaging women earlier and along the entire journey, to me, is where the most opportunity is. And I think I'm going to also pick up the question about the biggest impediment. I think that it can be really hard for us as women leaders. I mean, I'm not saying men aren't, but we're often juggling different lifestyle with our kids at different phases and different things. And so sometimes when we're reaching those higher level roles, they often hit when things in life are also at their most difficult and challenging. I really think we need to rethink the support systems across corporations to keep women there, right? And really show the value of keeping them there. That's my opinion. I think that could be an impediment. You get to a certain point, and for a lot of women, it feels like there's just, I can't do it all. And we support women in that.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, it's twofold. One, it's we all have equity, and I think I mentioned this in the panel we did. We have equity to bring other women on the journey. They're not competition, right? No. There's plenty of room at the table, and we gotta bring other women on the journey with us. Outside of that, it is, and we face this all the time. It's hard to choose. I had a young engineer ask me in one of the plants one day, how did you choose? And I'm like, choose what? And she said, between the company and life, having kids, getting married. And I'm like, wow, okay, right. But that's a real question that women are faced with. They're a lot of times the ones that carry the burden of trying to balance both. And the flexible policies, the allowing, that it's hard, right? The boundaries, the work-life balance, it continues to be a struggle. So the point about support and infrastructure, absolutely, 100%. I mean, best practices. Let's share best practices on that, people.
Yeah.
I think two things that stand out for me. One is from the Detroit Summit last year. Do you remember Jackie McQuaid when she said we're balls and you've got to learn which ones are glass and which ones will bounce?
Yeah.
I think for all of that's so important. And the second one, Glyn, you put it in, is about sponsorship. And I think this is what Tracy and a couple of the other speakers said. Just ask for it. Just go out there, ask for a mentor, ask for a sponsor, put yourself out there. And that is not something women are naturally inclined to do, is it? We have that confidence barrier.
And I wonder that just got me thinking something like, is there an opportunity for organizations like this to help facilitate that, right? Where you can actually raise your hand to find a sponsor across the industry, not necessarily in your own company, who can help you with some things. It's just an idea to give women access to leadership across the, across the entire industry.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, this leads on very nicely, Amy, to my presentation about
Oh, I didn't know.
So yeah, for our corporate members, we do have a cross-industry, cross-company mentorship program. So that is one of the benefits we wanted to talk about, which is hilarious. As a speaker, even you weren't quite aware of.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Before I go into presentation mode, and whilst I've got you guys here, any more questions in the chat that the audience would like to ask you both? Am I good? Anything, April and Amy, you want to share? Any lasting comments or questions?
No, just that it was such an honor to be asked to be a part of this. So thank you so much. And it was just such an incredible, inspiring day. I loved every second of it. And I know that all the women that we brought from Subaru loved every minute of it too. So we'll be back again next year.
Amazing. Third time, fourth time. Yes. See you there.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me back. The energy in Detroit was incredible this year. It always is. I think the call to action for me is that what happens next. So I'm glad we have this session to kind of keep that energy going. It's so easy. You get back to work, you got the emails, the time and data management, but there's a lot of inspiration from what happened in the Detroit Summit, and keeping that dialogue going is so important. So whether you were there in person or you were there online, I guess, how do we break the daily habits that are holding us back and leverage this community to be bigger?
Thank you. Well, I will go into corporate mode, April, and I'll try to say that. But the first thing that we should say is in October, we will be back partnering with the Reuters event and having a Women in Automotive breakfast and dinner. So that will be, I think, the first thing, if everyone can put in their diaries, October 29th. It will be fantastic to welcome everyone back. Okay, ladies, I am going to go through the presentation. So Amy, listen, okay? One is 50,000 members from over 100 countries, and we work with 55 corporate members. So Ford is one of our annual partners. They work with us on an annual basis to get involved in all of our activities. Perfect. These are some of our members. So just mentioned Ford, Toyota, Hyundai, a lot of the top OEMs, tier one suppliers, as well as the tech companies, surprisingly, Amazon. Vodafone recently joined Dow. Hopefully you guys will recognize some of your own companies, your clients, etc. Community breakdown. Everyone asks us, who's the network for? It is for everyone. This is not an HR and a marketing event. You guys know from your job titles about this. Truly global, industry-led seniority. We're there for you. Next, upcoming events. So these are the big summits that you guys attended a couple of weeks ago. We've got Europe in Stuttgart in October, Mexico in December, launching Japan next year, and then we'll be back in Detroit next June. We also do lots of other things. So the mentorship program, this, as I mentioned, we guarantee 6 meetings within 4 months. But if you speak to anyone that's been part of our program, they stay connected for life, because a mentorship program is not just, you know, professional development, it's a relationship. And when two people click, I've had people Airbnb together in Germany. Like, it's incredible to see these relationships happen. We also have a virtual event series. This is one of them. We've got a motherhood question coming up. We've got the mentorship meetup. We've got a private corporate membership one where they can share their secrets and their expectations and challenges. We'll do a similar European Summit highlights, I Am Remarkable session, and then a celebration at the end of the year. We also know we can't be everywhere at the same time. My kids are killing me at the minute. So we have local meetups run by ambassadors, which is running really, really well in Germany, Stuttgart, Munich, and Frankfurt. We want to launch it in Detroit in October and keep that going regionally. Next, thank you. We have ways to join us. So this is our corporate membership. I won't go into the details, but in general, it's an annual partnership where you use us as a springboard for your message. Job vacancies, celebrating colleagues, industry press releases, you name it. We have 3 tiers available, lots of different ways to get involved. If we can skip through to the next couple of slides, we also have our sponsorship side of things, which we can go into more details for anyone that's interested. Obviously, as you know, it's about branding, positioning, networking, and thought leadership. I will invite everyone now to get in touch with the team. I'm Stephanie, responsible for the agenda, speakers, and corporate membership. We have Ersin from sponsorship and Mona, who's individual membership as well as mentorship. If people would like to share their screens, their microphones, I'm happy to answer any questions now. Would love to see your wonderful faces. And yeah, keep the connection going. Kim, you already asked, can you repeat the June Detroit dates? It's not 100% finalized. Give us 2 more weeks. I know you're probably itching to put it in your diary, but I promise as soon as we have it confirmed, we'll let you know, and tickets will be released in September. Thank you both for listening and sharing your highlights. We really appreciate you being on stage a couple of weeks ago. You're both wonderful human beings. You're true inspirational role models, an absolute pleasure to work with. So on behalf of the team, thank you. Enjoy your summer. Audience, thank you for participating. If you need anything from us, let us know. You should have the photos, recordings, etc. If not, email hello at Women Automotive. We're happy to help. Okay, and that's it from us. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, April. Thank you, Amy.